Welcome back, guys. So in this tutorial we're going to go ahead and finishing up the save functions, and this will be saving the current weapon and then spawning it to our character. So what I'm talking about here is let's do the rattlesnake. Just add an optics to it, save that, change the color, whatever. Now, whenever we click off, see, now we have this weapon here. Alright, so let's go ahead and do it. First thing we want to do is create a struct, and this one we're going to be calling it weapon to spawn. Okay, let's open it up, and it's going to have a weapon base, and that's going to be a class reference. Okay, and that's going to be the weapon, and we're going to have material and attachments, and material is going to be our save material struct. So it's just going to be this right here. Okay, and the attachment is going to be the save attachment struct, which is the other save attachment struct that we created. Okay, so weapon to spawn struct, and inside we're going to have a weapon base, and that's going to be a class reference, and then we're going to have our material and attachments, and our material will be our save material struct, and attachment will be the save attachment struct. Okay, now back in our customization widget here, we're going to want to create a function here called save weapon to spawn, or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be the we're going to be saving all the attributes from that weapon, and passing it over to an output. Okay, now how we start this off, we're going to get our current weapon, our current preview, which is inside of our customization widget here. We'll get the weapon data from that current weapon, then we break it, and then we're just going to get the weapon name. Now we get our save material struct, which is our array map that we use to save the material and the colors. We're going to get that, and then we're going to find the name. So we're going to link name in there. So we're going to find this current weapon in this array, and we're going to do the same thing for the attachments. Okay, we're going to find. Okay, now we can have our output here be our weapon to spawn struct. Okay, I also saved it in a variable here. So once you get your weapon to spawn, what you're going to do, if you add the return value here, you're going to drag out and break, and then you're just going to get your attachment and get your material. And then for the weapon to spawn, we're going to go ahead and get our current weapon again, and then we get class. Now in our weapon data, we also have our preview class here, which we could pretty much drag out here and use, but just to get rid of all those pins, we're just going to use the get class. Okay, and just in case you forgot to add a preview class weapon here in the data table, you could always use the get class. Okay, so now what that's going to do is that's going to save our material and its color and all the attachments. It's going to save it to this material struct here, this variable here, which is our weapon to spawn variable, to save all this with the weapon to spawn. Okay, now I have an output here because we're going to be calling this this function here in our character. So wherever we have our equipped weapon, we're going to be calling this. So whenever we want to click off the screen, or get our character to equip that weapon, we're going to call this first, so you could save all the information from that current weapon, and then it's going to pass it on to our character, which is my first person character. Now in my first person character, I went ahead and created a function that I could call, and I could, this may be your equip weapon function here, or part of your equipped weapon, or the part that tells your handles the logic that spawns the weapon and stuff like that, I guess. Okay, so I have this variable here, this function here, and in this function what I did was get the customization widget first, and then I call that function, which is the one we just created. Okay, and I get the output, which is our weapon to spawn struct, and all the information. Now the weapon, the weapon class here, that's pretty much going to be in our spawn weapon here. But before we get over there, once we drag out from this spawn weapon to spawn thing from our customization widget here, once we break that, what we're going to do is we're going to get the material. We're also going to break it. Okay, and then just promote it to a local variable. Okay, and name it whatever you want. I already have one here called material, and do the same thing for attachments. Okay, so there you go. You just create a local variable for material, a local variable for color, and another one for attachments, and that just helps, so we won't have to be dragging all the way across or whatever. All right, once you create those local variable, we're going to get our spawn weapon function that we created earlier, or from previous tutorials, or the first couple of tutorials, I guess. Get that spawn weapon, and that's just get the weapon spawn. That just spawns a weapon to our character and attach it to our character. Okay, so we call our spawn weapon function. Okay, once that happens, we want to have a sequence, and this sequence is gonna pretty much spawn all the attachment to our weapon, and it's gonna update the material and the colors. So let's go over this one more time. Get our customization widget, call our save weapon spawn function, break the output, then save each variable to a local variable, then we call our spawn weapon function. Okay, after we call our spawn weapon function, we want to have a sequence, and our first sequence we're going to get our that local attachment variable. Okay, so for each name inside of this array, we're going to spawn weapon, and the weapon we're going to be spawning is our current weapon, which once we spawn it here, it gets put into a variable, so we could call it. So we're going to get that variable, which is current weapon, and this is inside of our character, and we're going to spawn the attachment. We're going to call spawn attachment. Okay, once it spawns all the attachment, then we're going to move over to the the material and the colors. So we're going to get the all material variables here, which we the local variable we created, and then for each material here, we're going to set our current weapon. Remember our current weapon here, we're going to set the weapon mesh, which is called weapon. We're going to set the material to whatever this material is. So, and the material and the index is going to be coming from this for each loop. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and create a dynamic material from that skeleton mesh, from that weapon mesh. Okay, and the dynamic material we're going to be creating is the same material coming from this loop, and the index is going to be the same index coming from the loop. And then pretty much the same thing from our customization here. We're going to get the all colors local variable that we created up here too, which is coming from our thing here. We're going to get that. We're going to get that variable. Then we're going to drag out, and then we're going to get, get a reference, get a copy, whatever. And then the index we want to get is the index coming out of this loop. And then we want to set the new color. Okay, so this right here is pretty much what we did over here to save our attachment. To load our attachment, sorry about that. To load our attachment, see, we just get the array here for each, and there's one weapon, and it's the let's just so you can see it, just like that. It's pretty much the same thing, except array. And same thing with the load. Same. All right. So once you have created this function here, which is your equip weapon function, once this is done, you could call this whenever you're ready to equip your weapon. So whenever you decide to close the screen, it does this. Now for me here, I have it happened as soon as I'm closing the customization screen. And the reason why I put it here is because once I may have to move this somewhere back, but once I remove the weapon scene, I think I also destroyed the current weapon in the customization screen, so I just run this here. I think I should be able to put this somewhere else. The reason why I say that is just in case you have your equip animation, you want your character to do the equip animation after all the screens are gone, because right now as it is, right now, as soon as I exit the screen, the character already has the weapon, and that's because the weapon already spawned, and is attached to his hands before the screen disappears. So if I was to have if this was my equip weapon function, then I'll probably miss the part where he plays the equip animation. So maybe put it somewhere at the end or something, but yeah. Alright guys, and I think that should be it for saving the weapon. Now one more function that I have here is I don't know if I went over this before, but it's to remove the customization scenes. Alright, and what happens is this gets the customization widget, and since I have two scenes in there, it gets the well, actually this actually destroys the current preview. So what you would also probably want to do is get your weapon scene, but whatever. I have two scenes, so I would have to get my other scene here and destroy it too, just to clean up a bit. But like I said, you would just if you have one scene now, you could just grab your main scene or your weapon scene and just destroy it. you know, whenever you decide to close the customization screen, just so you won't have, you know, weapon scene just chilling somewhere. You know, the reason why I think mine is like this is I think I already destroyed the scenes whenever I create new ones, so I think I'll probably just need to destroy the last scene whenever I click this button. So I think I'm good, but you know, like I said, you're supposed to have one scene anyway, so you know, destroying that one scene regardless should be it. Alright guys, thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.